Lightning like Steve McQueen. I'm in the fast lane when the light turns green. And I built tough, I ain't nothing but grit. Cause I made rugged blood, sweat, and spit. Yeah, like a horse I fly. Better push yourself in for a bumpy ride. I like to play hard, but I work harder. And I weather the storm cause I'm built stronger.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? We are back. We are live. It is the Freight Coach Morning Show, the top morning show in transportation, coming to you guys every single weekday, 8:30 a.m. Pacific, 10:30 Central, to break down some industry headlines and, most importantly, provide some actual insight into what you can do with all of this information. If this is your first time tuning in, welcome. This is the real side of freight. We only talk to transportation professionals on this show, you guys. I also do a twice a week long form podcast as well. And again, we only speak to transportation professionals on that because at the end of the day, you guys, I want to talk to the people who are doing what you guys are trying to accomplish, who have built businesses, who have built successful careers and everything else out there. And most importantly, it's to provide information that you can apply, utilize, and see a meaningful difference in your business and your life. It's one of the many reasons why I proudly fly this American flag behind me every single day is I'm living my American dream. And I want you guys to live yours as well. And also, it's the greatest nation on earth. So why wouldn't you proudly fly this thing behind you? We're going to do a solo show today because your boy's got a lot of freight moving. I got a lot of stuff going on, and I'm just out here trying to build my dreams just like you guys. But again, we're going to come in. We're going to talk about a couple of headlines. And as always, if you guys have any sales or operations related questions, let me know. Drop them in the comments. Drop them over on YouTube, wherever you guys are watching, and I will answer them live on the show. Before we get into everything, though, I got to give a shout out to my friends over at VHub. You guys, vhubapp.com. Whether you're a broker, carrier, or a shipper, we all need access to trailers at some point in time. And then especially right now for all the drivers and owner ops and small fleets and everything, you guys should never have to shut your operation down because you have a trailer in the shop. And the best part about what they have, you guys get paid to move these trailers. That's right. That's on top of the revenue that you can get by loading these out. So they got a couple of reefers in the upper Midwest there. They have one in St. Cloud, Minnesota, and also Mason City, Iowa. Two separate reefers, 53-footers, needing to get up to Mississauga, Ontario. Go on to their website, vhubapp.com, and put your offer in there on what you would need to move that. They also have Milton, Ontario to Moncton, New Brunswick for $400 Canadian. They have Winnipeg, Manitoba to Vaughan, Ontario for $500 Canadian. And then finally, they got a dry van out in Paragould, Arkansas, looking to go up to Orting, Washington. You get paid $1,550 to move that dry van. That's on top of the revenue that you can get by loading those trailers out, you guys. So hit them up, vhubapp.com. Do me a favor, let them know that the Freight Coach sent you. Carla Istet, good morning. Thank you for joining. Zach Williams, he says, good morning, everyone. Looking forward to today's show. As always, you guys, if you guys want to become an independent freight agent, take control of your financial future, hit up Zach, hit up SPI Logistics. You guys join the team. Sunny Sharma, good fucking morning, orange shirt gang. Let's fucking go. I love it. Antoine Battle, good morning, all. Let's get it. Whitney Young is over on YouTube. He says, good morning, Freight World. He's got that American flag in his comment, too. I love seeing those. We are also at day 214 of the Freight Coach Tally. And Freight Coach Tally is geared towards bringing awareness to some hot button issues in our industries that we need to talk about more than just when it's convenient for some social media vanity metrics. So what those are for all the drivers I actually speak with is truck parking. Big issue out there. Also, not having safe and secure or access to facilities, like showers and adequate food and stuff. So again, we need to continuously bring this up, and I'm going to continue to bring this up until there is meaningful change that is made out there in the industry. Just an example of, not an example, fuel. The national average for fuel is $4.62 a gallon right now, which is up 78 cents year over year. I get that information from the EIA, you guys, EIA.gov. Use that. And then for all my drivers out there who are listening to this, if you guys don't utilize Trucker Tools, you guys should hit them up. Yes, they are an advertiser of mine, but they have on their app, if you put the lanes that you're running out there, so like, my man Whitney Young lives up in Utah. So if he's running Salt Lake City down to Phoenix, on the Trucker Tools app, you can pull up and see where the most cost-effective fuel stops are along that route. And the app's free for drivers. So check it out, you guys. If you guys are out there, it can help you conserve some finances right now, which I think when you're in business, you're always looking at your costs. Sonny, he says, what lead generation software do you use? I use a company called Seamless.ai. I personally love them. Hit up my man, Jesse Vowinkle. He's been on my podcast before. But if you want, Sonny, I can make an intro over there. I personally love their product. It's been very, very effective for my brokerage and everything that we're building up. All right. With this also being a solo show, we're going to do a lane analysis here, you guys. Lane analysis. And what it is I just choose random city to random city. And then again, all of this is geared towards spotting trends, spotting out the seasonality of what goes on in a lot of these lanes and how you can accurately predict pricing based off of this. So we're going to pull up Richmond, Virginia to Des Moines, Iowa. I know, random, but we're going to do reefers, and it's going to be on. So if you look at the 90-day freight cycle, it was $2.06 90 days ago a mile, $2.09 60 days ago, $2.09 30 days ago, and that includes the holiday. And then it's since dropped over the last 2 weeks down to $2 a mile. And then it's essentially held firm at $2 a mile over the last 30 days. So again, seeing that, and reefer pricing is subjective because obviously there's a big difference in pricing between a fresh and a frozen load. And also I would feel comfortable bidding that and locking in your current pricing, especially if it's profitable for you for the next couple of months. I don't see that market flipping yet because, as we all know, produce is going to start kicking in here in Florida coming up in the next probably 6 weeks. And then that will trickle its way up into the Carolinas and everything. So check. I think that's just another way for you guys to help out with that and see the trend, because there wasn't a big spike over the holidays. Over Christmas and New Year's and stuff. So that's something to keep in mind. All right. Let me see here. Louis, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Louis Montano, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Today's a great day. Let's get some amen to that. Zach Lonergan says Seamless is the best. Zach, I like that updated profile pic. Zach's with V-Hub as well, you guys. So you guys can hit him up. Sonny, absolutely, man. I will make an intro here for you a little bit later. Justin Dolehanty says, how often are you calling next door neighbor business with your drivers? All the time. So I think that, again, you guys, as you're building up your book of business, depending on where you are, I think that there's a lot of value in calling different facilities that are in the areas that you're picking up and delivering into, because again, you have very accurate idea on capacity and everything else. And it's another great lead generation tool for you. And I personally think when it comes to that, and again, this is one of the, I think, most unspoken about things about building up a core carrier base is those drivers become your sales force out there because they want to work with you. If they're picking up at other places, they're going to let you know who they're picking up and all of that stuff. They're going to let you know that information. Like, hey, because I had some drivers that would give me facilities names that, again, they were literally in a neighboring town that I had no idea even existed. And I never, of course, I never thought to Google them. But again, they're like, hey, I'm delivering into this place. I know the guy over here. I can put you in contact with them. Stuff like that. Again, like there is so much more value if you're actually playing the long game in brokerage. There is so much more value in building up a core carrier base than anyone will ever put out there. Because again, so many people are so concerned about how do I make the most money today? And it's not always about that. Again, I'm a capitalist. I will admit it, but I believe in responsible capitalism. I want everyone to win because I know that the pie is big enough for that all to happen. But it's a great way for you to get out there and find additional leads and additional information by working with your drivers. And then especially calling all those warehouses that are around where you're picking up and delivering into. It's a great lead generation tool. If you don't have the money to pay for lead generation software, I've literally built books of businesses in the past off of Google and an Excel spreadsheet. That's all I did is I Googled addresses and I wrote down every single address or shipper's contact information that was in that area as well. And I just called them. And especially if you're really looking for another way, get out local, wherever you are located. Get out there and get in front of people. Show up to their doors and introduce yourself. Is it going to work everywhere? Absolutely not. Just like cold calling doesn't work everywhere, video messaging doesn't work everywhere. But if you consistently do it enough, you will find business with that. So again, it's thinking outside of the box. Patrick Provance says, good fucking morning, Freight fam. All right. So let's get into some articles here. And again, you guys, if you guys have any questions at all, sales or operations related for transportation, drop them in the chat, whether you're watching over on YouTube or whether you're watching on LinkedIn, or hell, you want a question, you're watching the replay later on and you want a question answered, drop it in the chat. I get notified of that. And as long as I have it, I will definitely answer it live on the show. Again, I'm here to help. I'm here to talk about what I'm doing, you guys, because again, I'm building up my businesses as well. There's nothing proprietary about what I'm doing. All right. But the tactics that I'm utilizing, everything else, I want best practices out there because, you know, if high tides raise all ships, that's my mentality. And also, you guys, with any of the articles that we break down, I will put the links to those articles over on YouTube, on the Freight Coach YouTube channel, as well as the audio only replay, which is available on iTunes and Spotify under the Coffee with the Freight Coach umbrella. And if you guys do go over to those other platforms, do your boy a solid. Subscribe and share the show. Rank the show out there. Get it out there, you guys, because that's how we've grown. That's how we are the top podcast in the industry, is because of each and every one of you who share it out to their network. Because if you guys see value in this, your network's going to see value in this as well. Patrick Provance says, I'm more charming in person, so using LinkedIn to set up in-person meetings. Yeah, man, I got a face for radio, but I'm right there with you, man. I would rather talk to somebody face-to-face about this because, again, I think that, you know, me personally, I think you increase the give a fuck level at that point, you know, because if you're just calling people for the sake of calling them, I think it's very evident in your voice. But if you take the time to set up a meeting or to go over there and meet somebody in person, you are able to, I think, more accurately articulate yourself and your intentions with that. So I like that, man. All right. First article, as soon as my mouse comes back, is from my friends over at the JOC. JOC.com. U.S. LTL freight volumes starting to improve ahead of spring. This is written by my man, Bill Cassidy. He's been on the show. Early signs of a spring rebound in LTL freight demand are already visible and should get clearer as the first quarter progresses. Executives at Old Dominion said our January volumes were slightly positive versus December, and we anticipate volume will return to us in the spring. LTL shipments per day dropped 8.6% year over year in the fourth quarter, while tonnage dropped 9.1%. In January, tonnage was down 7.8% year over year compared to 12.3% decline in December. We're starting to trend back in the right direction. And that came from, what's his face? Adam Satterfield, who's the CFO over there. And we expect to see increase in starting in March and continuing through the second quarter. Old Dominion and other LTL carriers are positioning themselves for an economic uptick that they expect will arrive before the second half of 2023, as many of their largest customers reduce inventories that soared in 2022. And we typically see an uptick in late February going into March. And that came from Greg Gant, who's the Old Dominion's president and CEO. Will that be the trend this year? We hope so. And we are thinking that we are in a good spot. Again, I think that this is just another person out there who is reiterating what we on this show have been talking about here for a while. And that is when the rebound will happen. So it seems like off of all the articles that I've broken down and what I'm seeing out there is a rebound will happen. It's just tough to articulate an accurate time frame on when it will. I think that, you know, again, profits, you know, they're talking about their profits out there. Profits are up and everything else as a company. And, you know, it was talking about how everything was tied to higher inventory levels on the drop in demand and everything. Talking about customer behavior in this one, while the U.S. economy remains weak, the end is probably near for what we're going through, said Kevin Freeman. He's the executive vice president and COO at Old Dominion. And he's, you know, with the market as experienced and defined as a freight recession, Bob Costello over at the American Trucking Association said that for-hire truck tonnage has dropped 4 consecutive months And the U.S. economy hasn't fallen into a recession, though it could happen early this year. And Costello and other forecasters, including S&P Global Market Intelligence, expects a mild recession followed by a moderate recovery later this year. Old Dominion's confidence is partly based on the outlook for its shipper customers who are not abandoning the company to test lower price competitors. And then we've seen a little bit of a change in customer behavior since COVID, and some shippers in previous downturns peeled away some of the business or lanes, but now we are keeping the freight in the Old Dominion trailers. And despite the weakness in the economy, we've seen good customer trends. We've not been losing accounts. Customers are keeping us in place, and many of them are still dealing with supply chain challenges. And we know they're probably closer to it turning, and they want to keep capacity that's out there. And the article ended with inventories are starting to get low compared to where they were 6 months ago. So I think that there's a lot of telling signs in here, especially at the end of this, where they're highlighting back historically about what happened in market shifts and how customers shifted service providers to check on price. But I think that it's a direct correlation to how you sold and how you performed over these past couple of years. And I think if you truly were as big of a badass as a lot of us like to think we are, you're going to be just fine, because service is everything, right? Service is literally everything in any market. And I think what you're finding is a lot of customers are very much aligned with like, hey, you performed well for us over the most turbulent time that we've seen in our business. So we're going to continue to perform for you. We're going to continue to show up for you. And again, service is everything, you guys. Yes, price is a factor. All right. I'm never going to say price isn't a factor out there, because it is. But in due time, if your service levels are so high, they're not going to really check you, or they can justify why you are charging a premium. Because just because you think you provide premium service doesn't mean you can charge those premium rates. You got to earn that. And that comes in due time. And again, I think that that's something to take into consideration. And then furthermore, how do you know that the shippers you're working with right now don't view your rate as an insane cost savings? Because not every shipper out there adjusts their prices every month. You know what I mean? So again, keep that in mind as you're going out there, guys. Service is everything. Service is everything. That's what will keep you in the door. Price might get you in the door initially. Service will keep you in the door, and service will grow your business exponentially. That article, JOC.com, U.S. LTL freight volume starting to improve ahead of spring. All right. Next article we are breaking down. Jameson Stokes, welcome. He just tagged Antoine Battle in with a double thumbs up. So I'm hoping Antoine said, come check out the show. Thanks for joining us in here, Jameson. Next article, fleetowner.com, speed limiters, a big sexy issue in 2023. I wouldn't exactly say it's sexy issue, but anyways, promises action, regulatory and legislative issues, speed limiters, newly passed, final emissions restrictions and truck parking among the most prominent of these concerns. Also look for possible movement on several other notables, such as vehicles miles traveled, and the under 21 driver program. Fleet Owner hosted a webinar sponsored by Fleet Management Service GPS Insights. And, Garney was short on insights for those who turned in for the hour long. Wasn't short, excuse me. Speed limiters is a big, sexy issue. In a first proposed and highly controversial rulemaker, which received 15,000 Federal Register comments in response last summer, the FMCSA called on all Class 7 and 8 commercial vehicles to be limited to an as-yet determined top speed. A second proposed rulemaking from the FMCSA this year is expected to set that top speed, which some had suggested could be 65 miles per hour based on proposals from Congress. Allies of larger trucking companies, such as the TCA, have come out mostly in favor of the speed limiters, while others, including OIDA, have stood opposed to that. I'm just going to stop right here and put in where I stand on this. I am vehemently against speed limiters, 1,000% against them. That is just more overreach that we do not need. I have stood on this because even the insurance companies, who are also very much in favor of this, could not provide accurate data that it decreased accidents and made the road safer. And again, if you have a compelling stance in favor of speed limiters, I will invite you to come on the show and I would love to hear your opinion on this. I do not see it as a benefit to anyone. I think it is 1000% a bad idea because last time I checked, that's what a speed limit's for, right? Like that is literally what a speed limit's for. Unless I'm missing something. Again, I went to public school, you guys. I went to public school, but I believe that a speed limit is in place to keep people safe, right? And to keep people from speeding. I do not believe it is the FMCSA's job to tell people how to run their business when they love to remove themselves from any and all liability of their policies. I have receipts. Go out there and you can check up on all this stuff. And yeah, Whitney, I think I think that's exactly why there are companies that are advocating for it, is because their insurance companies are keeping them at 65 miles an hour and they want everybody else to be at 65 miles an hour. Now, I am not advocating for unsafe driving. I am not saying that there should not be any speed limits on the road or anything like that. I want the road safer, but my stance is based on the policy that has been provided. There was not any compelling evidence that has provided to the articles that I've broken down that showed that the roads will become safer. All right. Now, what I am in favor of is putting information out there that shows the benefits of doing this. Again, I do not feel like it's the government's job to tell a business you can only drive at 65 miles an hour. I think that's overreach. I do not think that that is what is in the confines of what these agencies are there for. I think that, again, they're talking about taxes and everything else that comes along with it. We're not keeping up with our obligations. I'm trying to look for more information on that. VMT is vehicle miles tax. It's just talking about also the just all the legislative actions that are in what we're up against this year, and it didn't really go much into detail on the speed limiters outside of what I've already mentioned. And but the Congress is going to be busy for transportation related bills and everything that is out there. There's a lot of stuff which we've broken down, and I'm not going to go over and repeat a lot of what we've talked about so far. But again, this is a good article, and if you're in the industry, you need to very much read this one because it lists out all the specific bills and proposals that are out there that will be presented to Congress this year. So I would look into that and I would look into this article and check out a lot of these policies, because again, you guys, the way it goes is if you don't like this stuff, call your local congressman. You can go to Google, use Google to find out who your congressman is. Just literally Google, who is my congressman? And there's a website out there where you can put in your home address and it will show you. Reach out to them. Get vocal about this stuff if you do not like these policies, because speed limiters are a joke, in my opinion. They are an absolute joke. That's what a speed limit is there for. That article, you guys, is fleetowner.com, and speed limiters is a big, sexy issue in 2023. Carl Taft says 65 miles per hour in Atlanta or a Texas 75 mile an hour highway is scary to me. I didn't even if you've ever driven in California before, Carl, I've driven through Atlanta. I think Atlanta is one of the worst traffic cities I've ever driven in. I think California is there is no speed limit in California. It doesn't matter that it says 70. If you're not going 95 miles an hour on a California freeway, you're toast. You're going to get ran off the road. Jim Wall says those larger companies wouldn't have to be limited at 65 if they hired more experienced drivers to prevent less accidents. And then he also prevent accidents. Jim, I think that training is a massive place, that there's a need for additional training in this industry across the board. I can't specifically speak to what you brought up because I've never driven a semi truck before, but seeing what is out there and riding along with my dad for as long as I did and everything else, I would say that people need to reinvest, in deeper training and Deeper training and retention. I think that would help out a lot of those issues. And yeah, Sonny, California is a nightmare to drive in. All right. Third and final article we're going to break down, you guys, is from Transport Dive. Labor woes expected to persist in trucking fleets in 2023. And as freight demand declines and budgets tighten, hiring and retention are expected to remain a challenge in trucking for 2023. That's funny that we just talked about retention. Leaders at the TCA, the ATA, and OIDA emphasized during interviews with Transport Dive that labor must be a focus. Workforce challenges have not gone away. TCA President Jim Ward said they continue to be an issue for our industry and our members. We're going to continue to be confronted with this challenge just from attrition alone. As retirements and attrition take their toll, introducing trucking to younger recruits as a career option and other creative strategies are essential for carriers to have enough drivers. Technicians and other personnel keep their operations rolling. Fleets also need help from state and federal government agencies to grow their employee ranks as the industry plans to continue opposing measures like AB5, which again, I'll just summarize it, I hate, and other state and federal regulations prohibiting independent contractor arrangements on many fleets and owner operators. Again, I think that, talking about attrition, about how the average driver's age is anywhere from 48 to 52, and future retirements are expected to exacerbate the staffing woes that are out there. I personally think that, again, a focus on retention and focus on training, like an actual training program out there. I know the under 21 thing is a big hot button talking point. I'm personally in favor of it as long as there is extensive training that comes along with it. Because as what's the difference between 800 miles in the state of Texas and 800 miles between Memphis, Tennessee, and Charlotte, North Carolina? What's the difference? I can't see that there's a difference out there of it at all. But I think that with adequate training, you could help with a lot of this, because again, I'm a firm believer, if you're an adult at 18 and you can go and fight for this country, you are an adult to be able to cross state lines in a truck. Talks about, workforce is under assault by labor, AB5, which again, I think is a massive joke. ATA plans to invite owner operators to DC during the upcoming session to meet with federal leaders and share their reasons for wanting to work under the independent contractor arrangement. Independent contractors are a pivotal part of our industry's ability to move freight, said Chris Spear, whom I'm a massive fan of Chris Spear. We need to do more on Capitol Hill and educating people that it's a bent narrative largely at the behest of union organizing campaigns and plaintiffs' bars attorney that want to come after our industry. OIDA is also concerned about threats in California and elsewhere. The lease model has been around for a long, long time. Lots of people like it. It works for a lot of people. As long as the carrier is doing it correctly and being fair, it's a good model. And I would agree with that. Again, I don't think policy can come in to punish the many to persecute the few that are actually breaking the rules, because this is a hard pill to swallow for a lot of people. People who break the law are going to fucking break the law no matter what. They don't care what the law is. They don't care about this stuff. They're going to do it. So removing people's ability to earn a living, I am never going to be a fan of at all. I think that it's, again, if you see it happening in California, it's going to happen in other states that are similar to California unless you get up there and do something and say something about it. AB5 is a joke. All right. It's a joke. And it's not just coming for trucking. Trucking is the tip of this. This will come for every fucking industry out there that has independent operators and independent contractors in it. Hairstylists, construction workers, you name it, you're all fucking next. All right. So we can do something about it if we step up and say shit. All right. Remember, the government works for us, you guys. It's not the other way around. We, the people. All right. Just putting that out there. That article, transportdive.com, labor woes expected to persist for trucking fleets in 2023. That's the third and final article for today, you guys. As always, I'll put the links to these articles over on the Freight Coach YouTube channel, as well as the Coffee with the Freight Coach audio only, which is on iTunes and Spotify for this. But we'll be back tomorrow, you guys, 8:30 a.m. Pacific, 10:30 Central, to break down more industry headlines. That's it for today. And as always, if you guys saw value in this, share the show. Subscribe, rank it, share it, do all of that, you guys, because if you guys see value in this, your network's going to see value in this as well. I appreciate you guys. I love you guys, and we'll be talking to you.